Proactive leaders have three essential characteristics that make them stand out. 1, they think ahead. 2, they see beyond problems. And 3, they are trained to take informed action to achieve desired results. We at Global Capital Inc. and Tedx Branding Marketing LLC out of New York, we have a leadership platform to position you to achieve the highest level of success. Whether you're in business or you're the average individual who wants to achieve more financially, learn, apply, and master these systems. Take your life into your hands. Position yourself to start thinking ahead, seeing beyond problems, and taking informed action to achieve desired results in every area of your life. Reach out to us now. We have a team awaits you to provide mentorship, coaching, and support to help you attain the highest level of success. That there is a growing need for the proactive leader. And by the proactive leader, I mean the need for leaders who are able to think ahead, the need for leaders who are able to see beyond problems, and the need for leaders who are able to take informed action to achieve desired results. Today, we will do a little deep dive into the proactive leader. And I must say that this program is taken from the table of content on the 10X Wealth Leadership Blueprint. So today, our table of content comes from 10X Wealth Leadership Blueprint. And in this unique platform, there's 4 important pillars that you will learn over a period of time. 1, you will learn about the pathways to wealth blueprint. There is a blueprint that will literally be showing you what are those pathways to wealth. You will also learn about the proactive leadership blueprint. And today we will do a little deep dive into that. You will also learn about wealth leadership blueprint, and here is where we will talk to you a lot about debt capital, equity capital, credit capital, and smart capital. Of course, if you're in business and even in life, it makes sense to understand these systems. And beyond understanding these portfolios, it's important to understand how to leverage these portfolios. And 1, how to access these portfolios, how to leverage these portfolios, and how to mitigate these portfolios. So yes, over a period of time, we will certainly be introducing you to this content of information. Along with this, under the heading 10X Wealth Leadership Blueprint, you will also learn things like how to do your income audit analytics. There's also a blueprint for this. This is a very unique program where you are able to examine your income against your expenditure against your balance sheet against your future plans. And when we see that your balance sheet is not able to satisfy your future plans, we move you right over into smart investment portfolios. And here is where you learn a lot about stocks and bonds and mutual funds and hedge funds and index funds and so much more that you will be learning about. So today's topic is taken from there. Some of the things that we're also going to be examining today is 1, we will be digging in deep into proactive leadership blueprint. I believe that each and every one of you owe it to yourself to really get a clear understanding of the terminology that we have coined at Global Capital Inc. and Tedx, Branding Marketing LLC out of New York. So we'll do a deep dive into that today. Along with that, we will be talking about, I want to talk to you, and as we talk about capital markets, there are a number of important factors that you should know about the capital markets before you go into debt. So we will also be examining the role of the PFA, the Professional Financial Advisors, and debt mitigation. We'll be looking at that from two different levels. All right, so I want to encourage you to stick with me. So if you're in business and you intend to get into business, I want to say that this is the platform for you, because of course we're going to be talking to you about everything business and providing you a content of information that we believe is necessary and can help to 10x your business cash flow and leapfrog your business growth. I begin today's discussion by looking at the first topic. We are going to do a deep dive into the concept that we call the proactive leadership blueprint. As we talk about proactive leadership, it's very important that you get a very clear mental picture of what we're talking about. Proactive leadership represents three essential characteristics of the leader. It represents one, the leader ability to think ahead. Two, it represents the leader ability to see beyond problems. And three, it represents the leader ability to take informed action to achieve desired result. Now, this is applicable to you whether you're in business or whether you are the average individual who wants to achieve more financially. A clear understanding of these characteristics, these leadership characteristics, can serve you tremendously well. When we speak of the proactive leader thinks ahead, what exactly are we talking about? This is referencing one, the application of your creative thinking ability that enables you to see the beginning, the end, and the middle of a given process. And I repeat this. To be able to think ahead, what this means is that you're able to apply your creative thinking ability in a manner that allows you to see the beginning, the end, and the middle of a process. For example, every building contractor or an engineer, they would have their blueprint. They have their building's plan blueprint before they start that building process. So they're able to think tank and they're able to brainstorm the process long before the building process gets started. So when we talk of thinking ahead, it allows you to be proactive as against reactive. And being a proactive leader in today's world is essential to compete and win. So, of course, another example can be the business owner, the entrepreneur. You think ahead by developing what is known as your business plan, your business strategic blueprint that literally gives you an in-depth analysis, an in-depth walkthrough of the business strategic objective that you want to accomplish, It helps you to identify the methodological approaches you need to achieve that. It gives you a total picture. So you're able to see the beginning, the end, and the middle of that process. And of course, this also applies to the average individual who are going after big dreams. You too should have what is known as your personal life blueprint or your personal life master plan. Every successful person that I have known, they have their personal life blueprint. They have their personal life master plan. And this is why the content that we are presenting here to you as relates to the proactive leader and his ability to think ahead is so important. Of course, we will go deeper into this analysis as you come in to our executive masterclass. So the first characteristics that is important for you to understand is the process of thinking ahead. All right, proactive leadership and the process of thinking ahead. You don't wait until your backs are against the wall to start innovating ideas as to how to escape the particular challenge. You don't wait until competition starts to come at you and close you in and box you in and squeeze you out to react. It makes sense to start thinking ahead. The top 100 companies in the world that we are studying, they are all prone to think ahead. They position themselves to be the global thinkers, the social actors, and the transformational leaders. They are the influencers in the market. They are constantly innovating new products and new services and innovating new ways of leveraging their value proposition to impact the specific target market. So thinking ahead is absolutely relevant to doing business in today's world. And for the average person who wants to be successful in today's world, understanding these tenets, these essential characteristics of the proactive leader will give you a tremendous competitive advantage in business and in life. The second characteristics of the proactive leader is what we term as seeing beyond the problem. So in thinking ahead, you were saying to yourself that you want to realize your corporate building, and you want your corporate building to be built out in such a way to appeal to your specific target market. So you can make a first impression that is larger than life on the specific target market. So you're seeing ahead and you're seeing all of this. Or you're thinking ahead and you're thinking about home ownership. You're thinking ahead and you're seeing your dream home to really provide a level of comfort for your loved ones, your wife, your spouse, your children. You want to provide that comfort zone for them. So you're thinking ahead of these things. The reality, again, the research is showing is that most persons are stuck in the thinking ahead. They are not able to come to the second stage, which is seeing beyond the problem. And what exactly do we mean by the term seeing beyond the problem? Let's take, for example, you want your corporate building or you want to achieve your personal home. So you can think ahead in these things. You can apply the creative thinking ability to see the beginning, the end, and the in between to realizing your corporate home and to realizing your dream home. but you're still stuck in this process because in spite of the fact that you're seeing these things, it requires a certain type of leadership to be able to achieve these things in your life. And that is why we have designed this program, because it is not enough to think ahead. It is not enough to see beyond problems. And let's go deeper into it in the whole issue of seeing beyond problems. What exactly does this term mean, seeing beyond problems? Now, for example, to own a corporate building in today's world, it might cost in Caribbean dollars about $100 million. To own your personal home, it may cost about $20 million. Now, in both of these cases, you have to get equity in the game. You have to get cash equity in the game. So in the case that you're dealing with the $100 million real estate and the requirement is 10% equity, you will be expected to at least put $10 to $20 million into that process. And most people see the barriers to achieving this specific end. And this is where you begin stuck in the thinking ahead. And you never get past the thinking ahead to seeing beyond the problems. In the case of your personal home, the value of this is going to be $20 million. The financial institution will ask you to get 10% equity in the whole process. That means that you have to front 2 million Caribbean dollars, showing that you have enough skin in the game. And we're going to go a little deeper into that analysis a little later in this program, because we will be talking about good debt and bad debt. Now, so this is where the problem lies. But you're not seeing beyond the problems. To see beyond the problems simply means that you know what the problem is. The problem is accessing 10, 20 million Caribbean dollars to invest in your corporate real estate, or it is to access 2 million GYD, Caribbean dollars, to invest in your personal home. This is you getting personal equity in the investment process. So this is the problem. And this is not a subject that I want you to take light, because I want to say again, from the research, we are seeing hundreds of thousands of persons and millions of persons across the world. They struggle when it comes to owning their own home. And they struggle when it comes to building or owning their personal corporate estate. And this can have far-reaching effect, because in my new book, Tedx, Branding and Marketing Blueprint, we talk about this. When you have a corporate estate that you're able to build out with in a manner that represents the brand that you're representing, it is much easier for you to build up confidence, trust, and credibility in the eyes of the specific target market. But we're not going to get into that today. I'm just trying to emphasize the importance of owning the corporate real estate. But in most cases, you're not seeing past this. Now, there are many ways in which you could see beyond the problem. So you see the problem here is cash flow. The problem here is balance sheet. One way in fixing this challenge is clearly identifying how you can access the debt capital market. You want to clearly identify how you can access the credit capital market. You want to identify how to access the equity capital market, and you want to identify how to leverage smart capital. So cash equity is the problem. A positive balance sheet is the problem. But the solution is you understanding enough about debt, equity, credit, and smart capital portfolio. Beyond just understanding the portfolio, but you now understand how to access the portfolio. You understand how to leverage the portfolio, and you understand how to mitigate the portfolio. This definitely puts you in a competitive advantage. So the 10x Web Leadership Blueprint, we go deeper into this, much deeper into this, to ensure that you understand these systems and you know how to apply them to achieve the 10x effect in your business growth, to achieve the 10x effect in your business cash flow. These are practical tools that we have studied over the top 100 companies in the world. We have innovated some new systems here just for you to ensure that you are getting the competitive advantage. But of course, access to capital is not the only means to see beyond the problems of owning that corporate building and owning that personal dream home that you have in mind. We also bring you to a number of important tenets of information that really puts you in that frame of mind to start conditioning your mind to start seeing beyond problems. You need to move away from the problem-driven mindset and bring yourself more to the solution-driven mindset, where you are prone, you're socialized, you're oriented into recognizing the problem, but you have a mindset that as you see the problem, you're going to immediately identify 1, 2, 3 solution to that problem. Again, this is what this program is all about. Where you see the problems, we give you a blueprint. We give you a Bible that literally shows you how to get beyond the problem. So some of the other important things that we believe is important for you to consider is essential. We talked earlier about the building contractor. They have the builder's plan drawing. They have a blueprint for that. The corporate executive, they have their business strategic plan. They have a blueprint for that. And successful individual, they have their personal life master plan. They have a blueprint for their life. So it's important for you to have a game plan, a master plan to embrace success. All right. And these are things that you want to think ahead about, and you want to bring yourself to that point where you're seeing beyond the problem. Your personal life master plan, your business strategic plan, your builder's, plan, they all represent this game plan that you need to have. Along with the game plan, it's important for you to understand team dynamics, because in many cases we are seeing again the private individual who they're going after success. In many cases, you're going after success, me, myself, and I. I want you to leave me, myself, and I out the door. The real successful persons in the world today, they understand the power of relationship. And they understand how to leverage relationships in a manner to 10x possibilities in their lives. So, of course, we go into this also to really provide you with an essential content of information that really gets you out of that me, myself, and I mindset and bring you to that point where you start to think about team. But as you start to think about team, is to ensure that you have the right team dynamics, because when you're positioning yourself to go after wealth, you may have to shed yourself of negative thinkers. You might have to shed yourself of toxic mindset, because here is where you might have a vision to achieve greatness, and you have a toxic mindset that is saying to you, why you are thinking so ambitious? Why you want to go so far? It's impossible for you to achieve those things. So you need to be very, very selective in how you go about the recruitment, selection, placement, and the acclimatization of your team members with team dynamics. We go deeper into this with you to ensure that you understand how to go through the recruitment process, how to go through the selection process, how to go through the placement process, and how to go through the acclimatization process. We work with you to ensure that you have this kind of information and you can make informed and educated the decision when it comes to this. Now, along with this, it's important for you to ensure that you understand project management. Now, if you are not a project manager, it's important for you to get in your team a very strong project manager. This is absolutely necessary. You need a project manager, because when you design your business plan drawing, when you design your business strategic plan, when you design your personal life master plan, this is a project. And the project manager, if you are not trained to become a project manager, is vital to helping you to attain the level of success. And this is why, again, and we have introduced you to a very unique program that is titled the Financial Planner's Game Plan. Because the Financial Planner's Game Plan really equips you with the tools to understand how to set the goal, to understand how to timeline the goal, to understand how to build your team dynamics, to understand how to build out the game plan, to understand how to build out your WBS. So the project manager is the person who is going to help you to build out the WBS, the work breakdown structure. And how important is the work breakdown structure? The work breakdown structure really allows you to, this is what really allows you to see the beginning, the end, and the middle of the project, because it gives you a step-by-step approach of every single task that has to be completed within the life of the project. Yes, this may be tough work, but success is not for those who want to sit in the fence and engage in wishful thinking. Success is for those who want to get the skin in the game and elevate their thinking, apply themselves after achieving greatness in life. I would normally say, you are not black, you are not libertation, you are not Gaussian, you are not fair. But of course, if you're going to become a shell-seater, you're going to allow all of those things to prevent you from coming into your greatness. So Understanding the importance of the project manager in helping you in the execution of the project is absolutely necessary. Along with this, as you start to think of ways how to see beyond the problems, you need to have a very strong project execution unit. Absolutely necessary. And this is regardless if you have a business or if you're the private individual going after success. I've seen many businesses fail. I've seen many businesses with great ideas who fail because the team dynamics is not there, because the game plan is not there, because your WBS is not there, because your project execution unit is not there. These are absolutely necessary. So these are things that we go very deep into these things with you to ensure that you get it. So as we talk about thinking ahead, as we talk about seeing beyond problems, we give you a range of tools and techniques that really enables you and empower you to start seeing beyond the problem. All right. I must say that this program today comes to you with the kind compliments of Tedx, Branding Marketing LLC, out of New York, and Global Capital Inc. Now, we're going to be talking now about proactive leadership. We are talking today about proactive leadership. And we will shift our attention now to a definition of informed action. I would normally say there's a major difference between action and inaction. There's a major difference between action and informed action. The important question that I want you to ask yourself today, how many of you have been taking action in your life? You have dreams, you have hopes, and you have aspirations in life. And from the time many of you exit school, you have dreams of owning your own home, driving your own car, retiring early in life, putting yourself in a position and strength to have an emergency savings account. So any emergency, pops up, you have the financial security to cushion yourself and to cushion your family. You have these dreams and you are taking action to make these things happen. But one, your single source of income is inadequate to give you the cushion that you want in this process. Now, that is called taking action. All right, what is informed action is what I want us to talk about today. Now, in taking informed action, one of the smartest ways to do this is to learn from those who have been there and who have done that. It's to learn from those who would have fell down 1,000 times and those who have risen up and those who have learned from the pitfalls and those who are moving in the direction after learning things that you should avoid. All right. It's important to put yourself in a position of strength to connect with thought leaders, to connect with some of the global thinkers, the social actors, and the transformational leaders, to connect with the dream makers, the game changers, and the trendsetters that have experience and knowledge to share with you. They have the information. So because of this, they're able to take informed action. And they would be able to save you from stress, frustration, loss of income, loss of sleep. That's the negative. But they will be able to quicken your step to success and help you to scale your business, your ideas, your personal wealth much faster than just taking action without all of the information. So when we coin the term informed action, it literally represents you surrounding yourself with a body of people that have the knowledge to help you to 10x your business cash flow, to leapfrog your business growth. I'm happy to say to you that we at Global Capital Inc. and 10x Branded and Marketing Blueprint, 10x Branded and Marketing LLC out of New York, we have this body that are speaking to you about debt capital. And I'm going to go a little bit into it today. They're speaking to you about equity capital. That is speaking to you about credit capital. That is speaking to you about smart capital. That is speaking to you, will be speaking to you about real estate and the magic in real estate when it comes to cash flow maximization. We are speaking to you about how to access debt, how to leverage debt, and how to mitigate debt. We have a team of persons that's going to be working with you to really help you to understand how to think about that and things that you should think about long before you take that debt. We have a team of persons that will be talking to you about issues relating to building out your value proposition. You want to build your value proposition to impact 4 areas of your organization. You want to impact your workforce. You want to impact the target market. You want to impact the general public. You want to impact the bottom line of the company. We speak to you, we build out your corporate culture, your value proposition to have these kind of impact. We have the subject matter experts. We have the certified public accountant. We have the economist. We have the business consultant, persons who have been in business for many years. We have authors who are doing research across the world to ensure that you're getting critical information that's going to allow you to make empowered and informed decision as it relates to going after your business dream. We have a team of persons just for you. And this represents informed action. What is your PFA saying to you about financial markets? It's important that you get your PFA, your professional advisor, to really dig in deep and ensure that they're giving you the right advice when it comes to accessing capital. In our book, accessing capital it requires in-depth analysis. And I will share with you why I'm saying this today. Because many persons take a debt, but they take a bad debt. They take a very bad debt. Access to capital markets, it's important for you to stop and recognize that there's good debt and there's bad debt. Not because you have access to debt, it means that you're getting positive cash flow. You may be getting negative cash flow, but in the red. This can hurt you, and it can hurt so many other persons around you. All right, it can hurt a lot of people. I've been there, I've been through that. We have worked through that process. We are happy now that we can now share these knowledge and these experience with people to really put in their steps to success. All right. So as you begin to position yourself to take a debt, it's important for you to think ahead. about what this really means. What type of debt are you taking? The average person out there believes that when you buy a house, a home, a corporate establishment, that it is an asset. I'm going to say here to you, perhaps against a whole host of accountants, that once you buy that building and you have to go into your personal income to offset the debt cost, it is a liability. But yes, is there a smart way to buy the real estate so it becomes a good debt, meaning that instead of this taking money from you, it is allowing you to get positive cash flow? Yes, there is a way to make this happen. And again, that's why we are here, to provide you with this kind of information. And that is why you need the right PFA, the right certified public accountants, the right economists, the right branding and marketing managers and consultants to give you the kind of information that's really going to allow you to make the smartest decisions when it comes to doing business. So there's a couple of things that I really want you to consider when you're buying debt. So far we have looked at a number of issues, and we talk about good debt and we talk about bad debt. We talk about the estate. If you're paying for it out of pocket, it's a bad debt. But if that estate is providing not only asset appreciation to you, but it's giving you income, it's a good debt. And there are ways in which you go about doing this. There's a smart ways in which you go about doing it. And of course, when you come into this executive masterclass, we go deeper into this to ensure that whether you're a corporate entity or you're a private entity investing in real estate, you understand some of the smartest techniques that is being used by some of the top 100 companies that you can now incorporate into your business. So the traditional cash flow of your business is not being used to offset the cost for that debt. All right. The traditional business cash flow is not being used to offset the cost of that debt. Or your personal income is not being necessarily used to offset the cost for your personal real estate and your personal dream home. Those are technical areas that we go into to ensure that you have this body of knowledge, that you're fully internalizing this body of knowledge, and that you're able to apply this body of knowledge to achieve the Tedx effect in your business growth and in your business and cash flow. But as you position yourself to buy a debt, remember whether the debt is going to be coming from the DCM or the ECM or the credit capital market. It's important for you to understand the pre-qualification criteria. And some of the pre-qualification here is that these institutions, in most cases, especially when you're dealing with the debt capital, they are looking for cash flow. All right, they are looking for cash flow. That's one of the pre-qualification criteria. If you're not having positive cash flow, it's going to undermine every effort that you're going to be using to access the credit capital market, to access the debt capital market. Sorry, the debt capital market. They're going to be looking at your balance sheet. It's important to have a positive bank balance. And we talked about that earlier. You want to buy your corporate building at a value of about 100 million Caribbean dollars. You need to get 10% equity in the game. You need to demonstrate that you have 10 million in your bank, all right, in your balance sheet. You want to buy your dream home, $20 million, and you need to demonstrate that you have a balance sheet of about $2 million. Of course, you still have to take into consideration legal fees and all of those factors into that. You need to demonstrate that you have this type of balance sheet. So these are all pre-qualifications to access the capital. And of course, another silent pre-qualification is credit score. Now, in most cases, you are not aware of the impact of credit score. And what I've found is that this is more so in developing economies, middle income economies, the Caribbean side. It is more silent than when you're doing business in North America and some other parts of the world. You know that you need to focus on your credit score. You know that you need to have a solid credit score. You know that you know in terms of business, you probably need to get to Dun and Bradstreet. You know that if you're dealing at a personal level, you need to understand what is, Equifax and TransUnion. You need to understand these how credit score impact your credit rating and how it impact your ability to access the debt capital. And these are all things that we go into. So whether you're in business or whether you're the private individual going for debt capital, we work with you to ensure that you understand this. And of course, there are different platforms for the credit score, or there are two. There's business credit and there's personal credit. In developing economies and middle income economies, what we have seen is that there's not much that you can use to leverage the credit score, but it still have an impact. In the developed world now, that's a different flat field altogether, playing field, platform altogether, where when you understand the power of leveraging your credit score, of leveling your credit score, it literally gives you access to hundreds of thousands of dollars in personal credit, and hear me here, millions of dollars in business credit. We go deeper into this to ensure that you understand all of this. So you understand how to really play the game of understanding capital portfolios, accessing capital portfolios, leveraging capital portfolios, and mitigating debt. Age do matters when it comes to accessing debt. Age do matters. Again, the research that we do, we are seeing that the best time to go to borrow debt is between the age of, let us say, 20 and 40. Give it that 20-year window. Because what we're seeing is when you hit the age of about 45, 46, the life cycle of that debt comes down. And when the debt life cycle reduces, it increases the monthly debt obligation. And that can pose a tremendous challenge for the average person who wants to buy their first home. All right, it can pose tremendous challenge for you. We go into these things with you at a personal level. We go into these things with you as we go along the executive masterclass to ensure that you get in this, this picture, really understand the realities surrounding capital access. All right, age do matter. The other thing that I emphasize, it doesn't hurt to have some collateral. All right, it doesn't hurt to have collateral. And the pre-qualification I've spoken about so far, they're all related um, to when you're going for personal credit. If you're going for corporate credit or business credit, it's a different ball game altogether. Yes, all of those things are things that you would need to demonstrate that you reach those pre-qualification criteria, but you may have to also front additional information. All right, like some banks may ask for a business plan, some banks may ask for historical financial data because, of course, banks are risk avert, and I totally understand why they're risk avert because they are not invested their capital, they're investing the public capital, so they have to be certain that they are minimizing all the risk associated with borrowing. So they will ask you for these additional information. The key is that you need to be prepared for this when you go into the debt capital market. Of course, I spoke about the debt capital market, but the same principle applied to the equity capital market, depending if you're going to a venture capitalist who are very much risk oriented, or against if you go into a private equity investor. Private equity investor, they might be very much like the bank because they do not like risk. They minimize their risk. But later on in another program, we'll go deep into the pre-qualification criteria when you're going for equity capital. But as promised, I said today that we will be talking about the role of the PFA when it comes to debt mitigation. And you would have heard me saying in this program that, and many other programs, that there are many things that you should be thinking about before you buy that debt. We are seeing that many persons, they are thinking about accessing the capital because they're excited to get access to capital to invest back into their business and grow their business. But when you get access to capital, and because you did not apply the creative thinking process like the proactive leader, you didn't think ahead about the entire debt portfolio that you're going to be creating. You didn't see beyond problems. You didn't take informed action to achieve the desired result. You take that debt and it becomes a bad debt. And then you become stressed out, your pressure raised. And we know that pressure, it kills 110 million persons every year. Every year. But largely because you did not associate yourself or align yourself to the right PFA, professional financial advisors, personal financial advisors, certified public accountant, the branded and marketing manager that can help you to understand the market accommodators and the market enablers, and give you that smooth introduction to the market that can help you to connect with the guaranteed buyers, sign off with the guaranteed buyers. So when you take that debt, you cash flow. So I'm going to go through a list of things that is important for you to take the time to understand when you're going to buy debt. Because my biggest dream is that moving forward, you will never buy a bad debt. You only buy good debt. And there's a right way and wrong way to buy debt. So I trust that you are tuning in and you're buying in to what I'm saying to you. Now, one of the things you're PFA should be saying to you, you're a professional financial advisor, you're a personal financial advisor, you're certified public accountants. Things that you want them to say to you is, let's do the income analytics. All right, let's talk about the income projection. This is a very important topic point as you begin to look at the income projection. You're taking a corporate debt, and the financial institution wants to ensure also that you are going to be positively cash flowing. But this is some of what we've seen in the research. Many persons, and we see this happen also, many international training institutions sometimes comes in and they say to you, the average person you can develop your financial projection is your business. And you can develop your financial projection. And I say kudos to every entrepreneur who can do that. But the reality is this: you have micro, small, medium-sized businesses, and many of the micro entrepreneurs, many of the small entrepreneurs, they are not in a position of strength to do financial projections. Now, if even they are able to do the financial projections, what type of financial projections are we talking about? From a research standpoint, and here is where I'm going to bring my marketing and management hat on here. From a marketing standpoint, from a research standpoint, when you're going to do your income projection, it need not be an income projection that is based on speculative data. Yes, I said it, speculative data. We are seeing that many young entrepreneurs who are given bad information, they sit and they speculate the business potential to cash flow. Yes, they sit and they speculate the business potential to cash flow using speculative data. They throw secondary data and they throw primary data analysis out the window. In our case, when we work with our clients, and of course, we know that the research is capital intensive, but there are smart ways in which you can gather intelligence. You can gather secondary data, because primary data might be very expensive. But in our book, if you're doing business and you want to do business in the right way, it begins with you doing primary market research. When it comes to the financial projection, your financial projection could be way off track. What factors are you using to do the financial projection? Do you understand your market size? Do you understand your market density? Do you understand your market dispersion? Do you understand all of these factors as relates to doing the income projection? And all of these information is absolutely necessary if you're going to be doing your income projection. If you do speculative analysis, you're going to be way off track. Way off track. So before you take the debt, it's important to take this into consideration and make sure that you're getting the advice from the right people, the people that truly want you to succeed in business. All right, the people that are truly committed to going to the ground and doing that research and ensure that we give you the kind of information that allows you to make informed and educated decisions. You can take informed action when you have informed and educated data. The second thing that I want you to think about long before you take that debt is the expenditure. We call it expenditure projection. Yes, there's a cost for that debt, and there's a cost for the debt outside of your monthly amortized collateralized debt obligation when you're dealing with the DCM. You have a workforce. You have public relation marketing. You have a workforce. You have production team, and there's going to be a cost associated with up-leveling that debt. You need to have a clear mental picture about it. Now, it's not only to know it, but again, it's to understand how to mitigate this process. So it has to ensure that you get an efficiency from your labor force, and you're able to possibly either minimize cost or optimize performance so as to increase cash flow. Absolutely necessary. It's your PFA, your professional financial advice, your personal financial advisors in your business giving you these kind of advice. I'm giving it to you free. You know why? Because we care about you. We want to do things different. All right. And we want to speak up now. We have been silent for many years, and we have allowed many persons to speak our story. Now it's our time to speak our story. So we want to speak, and we want to give it to you free. So these are a number of things that you want to think ahead about. How about your balance sheet? At the end of the day, you want to make sure that you have a positive bank balance. But what are those factors that are influencing all of this? We go into that with you. And how about the net operating income? How about the ROI, the return on your investment? Now, we talked early on about you buying your corporate building or buying your personal building, and you have to get equity in the game. In terms of the corporate building, you need to surface at least $10 million. In terms of buying your personal building, you need to surface at least $2 million. And if you're seeing this the way that we're seeing it, you're seeing this as an investment. And an investment should give you profits or dividend yields at the end of the day. And once you're seeing this as a profit, you want to ask yourself, what is your ROI? What is your return on the investment on an annual basis? And how early can you cash out from this debt portfolio, taking out your equity and perhaps putting your equity someplace else where it can repeat the same process several times over again. These are all things that we work with you to ensure that you are thinking about. Because, of course, we keep saying the way great leaders think, you think ahead. You don't wait until, problems strike and then you start thinking about it. Great leaders see beyond the problems. And great leaders take informed action to achieve desired results. So when we introduce you to this program, the Tedx Wealth Leadership Blueprint, it is a blueprint that is going to transform the way you do business, the way you go after personal wealth. All right. So we are trusting that your PFA, your financial advisor is giving you this kind of advice. If not, you know where to turn. We're here for you to give you that support. And we're going to give you even free consultation, free support for a period of time to ensure that you're getting this right. So the other thing that it's absolutely necessary for you to look at before you take that debt is what we're going to call the market analytics. You need to know your market. You need to understand the market accommodators and the market enablers. And the market accommodators and the market enablers can be many things. So access to capital is the problem. So you need to know that you have enablers when it comes to capital access. So you have enablers that are playing in the debt capital space, in the DCM space. You have enablers that are playing in the ECM space. You have enablers that are playing in the credit capital market space. And you have enablers that are playing in the smart capital market. So it's important to know this. And again, we at Tedx Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York and Global Capital Inc., we are building in these enablers into the services that we are providing and intend to provide to our clients. So this is going to be like a one-stop shop where we give you representation to understand the enablers and to leverage the enablers. But of course, this is not the only enablers. In every country, and I'm happy to say in countries like North America, almost every state you go to, there are multiple chambers of commerce and trade association, both private and government agencies that are there as enablers to empower and business development, to give business the support that they need to survive and strive. In developing economies and middle-income economies, you may have it in different regions. But what the enabler represent is not these institutions being in existence to carry a flag, to carry a name. It's important that those institutions truly are empowered and built out in a manner to truly represent collective interests of the business community, not selective interests of the business community. We need collective support, collective representation. This is going to have tremendous impact, not only on those businesses, not only on the institutions that are providing institutional support to those businesses, but it will have tremendous impact on the economy. Because the more businesses are able to survive and strive and grow and move from micro, small, medium into possibly large scale businesses where you're now trading on the stock exchange market, where you are now listed as an IPO. And those things can have really tremendous impact on the market. Later on, I'll talk about, stock exchange market. But understanding your enabler is vital. And of course, we talk about ecosystem, a new book that I want to start looking at. Understanding economic system, the ecosystem within the economic systems are important to look at. It's difficult to do business in a planned economy. It's more business friendly in an open or mixed economic system. And of course, in doing business, you might have consumers, but they're in a mixed economy. They're in a planned economy. You need to understand this and how it's going to affect the whole process. But all this might be a planned economy. The possibility exists that your brand may be able to make some inroad. It depends. And here's where politics comes into play. Political ideology comes into play, and in most cases dictates who gets through and who doesn't get through. But the funny thing about all of this is that sometimes we look at planned economy and we say in planned economies, You expect this to happen. But sometimes in what we consider to be mixed economy, you still have a heavy political influence in terms of who rise and fall, the ebb and flow of who rise in the world of business. It happens. So if you're not an innovative and creative thinker, you can continuously be subjected and marginalized in the world of business if you don't now position yourself, which might be a hard task for most people, to start becoming a global thinkers, a global actors, and transformational leader, where you're building a brand that has not only local but regional and international relevance. So when they squeeze you locally, you can look at regional opportunities and you can look at international opportunities to move your business forward. I do believe that we should take the politics out of business. All right, and really understand that we need to bring critical stakeholders to the table to speak on critical issues to really help to move the business environment to a whole nother level. Good. So that is level one of what I call understanding the pre-qualification, things that you should think about before you buy a debt. All right, this is level one. I want to go into level two now as we look at the PFA and debt mitigation. The role of the professional financial advisors and personal financial advisor as relates to debt mitigation. And let's go into this. We're going into level two now. This is another level. Before you buy the debt, you want to know these things. All right? You want to know these things. So let's talk about it. You're buying a debt. The debt is called what? It's called the debt principal balance. And I really want you to take the time to really allow what I'm saying to settle in. You need to understand your debt principal balance. That's how much you're borrowing. That's your principal balance. You need to understand your debt interest rates. Why is this important? It is important. You need to understand your debt interest rate. You need to understand the debt life cycle, because depending on your debt life cycle based on your debt interest rate ultimately influence the cost of that debt. So the fourth thing here that you need to understand is the debt cost over the debt life cycle. How much do you take all of these factors into consideration? We go one step further, the total debt cost. Because it is only when you understand the debt cost over the debt life cycle, you're able to understand the total debt cost. What we do, we take that principal balance that is called a debt, and we evaluate that debt over the entire debt life cycle. And we come up with what is known as the total debt cost. The total debt cost will represent the principal balance plus interest rates. All right? The principal balance plus interest rates over the debt life cycle. Now, once you get this, you don't stop here. We don't stop here. We go one step further. We look at debt leverage. Debt leverage. And as we look at debt leverage, it's about really taking the time and working with you to ensure that you truly understand how to milk the debt, how to cash flow the debt, how to up level that debt in more ways than one. All right, and I will not get into it now, but it's important for you to understand all that we are talking about. And last but not least, we talk about the debt mitigation strategies. So you have the debt. You're using the traditional business cash flow to offset that debt. Kudos to you. Is there a smarter way to do this? Is there a more innovative approach to do this? Yes, there is. And here is where it comes to really understanding debt tools. Here is where it's necessary to understand velocity banking. Here is where it is necessary to understand strategic debt leverage. And we're going to that with you as you come into this executive masterclass with us, as you begin to spend time with us to really understand how to Tedx leverage the Tedx Wealth Leadership Blueprint. We have developed this blueprint just for you because, you see, cash flow maximization is not only about making money. You can make money, but you can lose money just as fast as you make it. You can make money, but you can lose money just as fast as you make it. So it's important to understand how to make money and how to up level that cash 10 times before you lose it. It begins by understanding smart investment portfolio. It begins by understanding assets that are giving you performing assets that are giving you daily, weekly, monthly cash flow, that is giving you asset appreciation, that is giving you asset leverage, equity leverage, and is opening a whole host of different opportunities for you. These are things that we go into. And it's important to recognize that this is a new day. This is a new era. The top 100 companies in the world, the Microsoft, the Apple, the Google, the Facebook, these big companies, they understand these tools. Look at PayPal. PayPal in itself has diversified their portfolio over many years. PayPal was just a facility that allows you to receive and transfer capital. Today, PayPal is in the financial management space where they're providing you with capital to do business. They are diversifying. So instead of their income stream is just coming from, the small amount of monies generated from transfer and receiving monies, they're now taking those funds, the excess liquidity, and they're putting it onto asset management. Important information for you to have. And of course, we are doing tremendous research where we're at the Tedx Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York and Global Capital Inc. because we want to give you, critical information to really, give you the tools to Tedx and give you the tools to leapfrog your body, give you the tools to change your mindset where you are now positioning yourself to become the global thinkers, the social actors, the transformational leaders, where you are positioning yourself to become the dream makers, the game changers, and the trendsetters. Now, we're talking about debt mitigation strategies. What are the benefits of this? What are the benefits of this? It allows you to influence the debt life cycle. It certainly allows you to influence the debt life cycle. I'll explain all of that step. It allows you to influence the debt cost. And this part is important because when you understand debt mitigation tools, regardless of how high the interest rate is, you're able to influence the debt cost. All right? And those players in the DCM, they know this. Are they obligated to say this to you? No, they're not. Are they an entrepreneur? Yes, they are. Are they in business to make money? Yes. So if you don't have the information, they're going to make money off of your backs. And that's business, quite legal across the world. Our role is just to present you with this information and to make representation on behalf of our clients. Understanding debt mitigation strategies also influence early equity capitalization. Early equity capitalization. And this is where you're able to cash out of your debt early and you're debt free. So you got equity. You got equity capitalization that is going to now allow you to leverage the equity. You can leverage the equity to get access to more cash flow. You can leverage those cash flow now back into business development and so much more. So much more. All right, I know that I've given you a whole lot of information today. I trust that you really enjoyed the program. As I'm saying, we are now beginning to position ourselves to speak our language and to speak for ourselves. We are now taking the voice away from the public who have been attempting to speak our language and to speak for us. And we're now beginning to speak for ourselves. Today's program comes under the heading that we call the Tedx Wealth Leadership Blueprint. And on the Tedx Wealth Leadership Blueprint, there are 4 important pillars for you to learn, apply, and master. And it begins with you understanding the pathways to wealth, the blueprint on the pathways to wealth. You will also get the blueprint on the proactive leadership. You will also be introduced to the blueprint on wealth leadership, and you will also be introduced to the blueprint on proactive, on income audit analytics. You will have these 4 blueprints. Today, our discussion, although we were pretty much, we do a little deep dive, I want to show you that this is only the surface of this data. All right, I speak to you today from the 10X Wealth Leadership and Blueprint, and I can assure you that this is only the surface information. All right, and as we go into the master classes, the executive and master class training, we will bring more clarity and unlock this whole picture for you. So we begin by today looking deep into the proactive leader. We say the proactive leader thinks ahead, the proactive leader sees beyond problem, and the proactive leader takes informed action to achieve desired results. And I trust that from today moving forward, whether you're in business or whether you're the average individual who wants to achieve more financially, I am trusted that you can apply these techniques. And of course, the proactive leadership, this term has been coined by us, Global Capital Inc. and Tedx Branding Marketing LLC. And of course, if you hear anybody use the Tedx branding, using the proactive leadership, we will get our folks back in New York to send them a lawsuit to restrain them from business. All right. So I trust that you would have enjoyed today's program. As usual, it's really a pleasure being with you today. And We are happy to also be broadcasting the Global Capital Inc. online radio and television show. And we have so much to be talking about. We are here to partner with both public sector and private sector because we believe that it's important that all decks, all stakeholders come on board in the interest of national development in alignment with human resource development. And so we are here receptive to work with all stakeholders in the interest of national and human resource development. Be blessed and see you in the next broadcast. Now, in the case that you're joining me for the first time, my name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the self-published best-selling author of several books, including Manager's Toolkits and Brilliant Quotes. I'm also the author for Tedx Branding Marketing Blueprint, the psychology of business. And of course, on this program, we will be reading to you from that book and bringing to you a lot of critical information from that book that we know can transform your life. So be blessed until the next broadcast. Proactive leaders have 3 essential characteristics that make them stand out. 1, they think ahead. 2, they see beyond problems. And 3, they are trained to take informed action to achieve desired results. We at Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding Marketing LLC out of New York, we have designed a unique leadership platform to position you to achieve the highest level of success. Whether you're in business or you're the average individual who wants to achieve more financially. Learn, apply, and master these systems. Take your life into your hands. Position yourself to start thinking ahead, seeing beyond problems, and taking informed action to achieve desired results in every area of your life. Reach out to us now. We have a team awaits you to provide mentorship, coaching, and support to help you attain the highest level of success.